All right, everyone. I think Joe Biden's campaign is actually more worried than you would think about the the parody website thing. Wasn't it a month ago I spoke about that first, and like not as many people knew about it. And then like I think I talked about it in Tim Pool and Goodman and a few others, and now all of a sudden, apparently it's beating Joe Biden's official campaign website in the Google search results, which is the funniest thing ever. Link in the description to an article about that. It has a link to the website. This is the way that modern politics just is, which is essentially taking place in the internet, and that's basically how it works. I think ultimately that it's a good thing. Because satire and parody, that's part of, sort of an American tradition. Political cartoonistry and things like that, and disruptive politics have been part of this nation's founding since the very beginning. But I'm sure that they'll try to spin it. What they'll do is say this is an example of fake news election interference. But it's not really. When you think about it, it's not even declaring itself, it declares itself openly to be a parody site. All it is satirizing an element of Joe Biden's character, which happens to creep people out. Now, again, I will say this unequivocally. I don't believe Joe Biden is specifically a pervert. I believe that he's simply very touchy-feely in sort of the sense of having been a man of his generation who's a little bit, I think, senile at this point. There's a part of him that I think maybe can't even help, because most of the pictures and videos of him doing this stuff are from the last decade or so. They're not from early, as far as I know. Is there an indicator that he was like this maybe 40 years ago? I'm not exactly sure. But he's got to understand that the optics of it are terrible. And it's not fake news to say, hey, here's a collection of Joe Biden pictures of him sniffing people's hair. They're real. It's not fake news. It's absolutely real. It's just the intonation of people talking about it is like, well, he's creepy or he's a kitty fiddler or something like that. We don't have evidence that he's done anything beyond that that's untoward towards anyone, but it's still creepy. I know that's a subjective judgment call, but looking at these pictures, yeah, it comes off as wrong. Yes, it is wrong for Joe Biden to come up to small children, put his hands on their shoulders, and kiss them on the head. It's weird. It's just not behavior that you should engage in. Joe Biden made it worse. When he got up on stage, remember this was a few weeks ago, and he said, oh, there's got kids in the audience, I guess like the kids of like staff or something. He's, oh, come up on stage, and then he puts his hands on the boy's shoulder, then he's like, oh, don't worry, he said it was okay, he consented. I'm like, where did you find your advisory team that thought that it was a good idea? Because it was obviously a scripted moment, getting him up on stage. Who told Joe that making a joke like that could possibly be okay? They should be warning him every single day, Joe, please, you've got this in the bag. You're going to become the Dem nominee if you don't fuck it up. There is nobody else in the race who can beat you. All you have to do is do decently in the debates, not make a fool of yourself, not take the bait and go further left, be the centrist sort of so-called moderate liberal candidate, which when they come to the realization that Obama's variant of liberalism is the new moderate within the Democratic Party, it's no wonder they're having schismatic issues. That's all he has to do, but here's the problem. I've been warning for years. Joe Biden is a gaffe master. Ultimately, he's not going to be able to beat Trump because he's going to do dumb shit like this. I hope he wins the primaries, because he'll get laid waste to by Donald Trump, and just think he's the most viable candidate there. He's been one step from the presidency. He's got a long career. He's got the corporate backing, which gives him the money advantage, maybe. The idea that a small grassroots progressive uprising is going to give the Democrats the edge in 2020 if they nominate somebody like Sanders, who's even older than Biden, who's already geriatric in the literal sense. I think he just turned 75 or 76 not that long ago. The idea that that's going to swing the election, when those people are largely cloistered in states where turnout was already high for Hillary, this is why she won the popular vote, because of a bunch of Californians and New Yorkers, that's not going to happen. That's locked in the blue states that the Democrats already have an overwhelming superiority in. There aren't a lot of far-left progressive movements in Iowa. There aren't a lot of college Marxist organizations in a place like New Hampshire. That's just not the way that it is. Biden is fucking doomed, though, because of stuff like this. It's the optics of it. It's not policy related. You can debate all day over policy. Politics fundamentally is shifting away from policy, at least for the short term, and this is part of the current paradigm, so I wouldn't worry about it being like, some people are like, well, it's idiocracy. It's come true. Well, now, things can be temporary. There have been moments in time in the past where charisma and personality, or stuff like that, basic gimmicks, have taken the fore in politics temporarily. And then there are times when things are much more There's a feeling of togetherness. It's less partisan, and it's sort of unifying for the nation. And you get back to like policy, like during a major war or something. And I don't mean like Iraq. They tried to use that for togetherness and rip the nation half apart. So if you go to Joe Biden's, fake campaign website, apparently it's, #1 in Google ranks. If you look up Joe Biden campaign or Joe Biden website, stuff like that, it's on the top list. Joe Biden's official campaign site isn't even on the front page. Now, this also indicates something else. Google obviously likes the Democrats. Face it, Google as a company leans towards the left. I don't think that it's like conspiracy theory land or something like that. It's just they're in Silicon Valley. What more can you say? The algorithms there were largely built by people who are more pro-Democrat, and yet Joe Biden is being abused by their algorithms. Now, isn't that something? The Democrats will come and say, Google, change your algorithms again. We need to fight fake news. And they'll use it as an excuse to take a little more power for corporations. It won't just be Google doing it. Facebook will ban anyone from linking it out probably, and Instagram will ban anyone talking about it. And then all of the Twitter will get involved and ban the hashtag and algorithmically demote mention of it. And they'll do the echo chamber, Silicon Valley, circle the wagon sort of thing, because they want Joe Biden to be elected. They want him to be the nominee because they think that he can beat Trump, and they certainly want Trump out. It's really a prelude to the 2020 election in part. But that's, it deals with the 2020 election explicitly. But in this case, it's not fake news. There's no justification for removing political parody, and if they do, there will be hell to pay. Because people say, okay, now they're going after strict parody. There's nothing here that isn't based on the objective reality of simply the optics of who Joe Biden is. He happens to act in a creepy manner around certain females. That's just the way that it is. And this also shows, at least to me, this is what my mind tells me. Joe Biden has almost no organic grassroots support of any hardened type. Like, if you think about it, Sanders has fewer fans. Kamala Harris has fewer fans. Elizabeth Warren, Buttigieg, these people. They have less fans, but they're much more fervent. They're excited for their candidates. Now, I don't think that necessarily translates into a win. If you end up alienating all the center-left voters in the country, you still lose. This is the Democrat dilemma of 2020. It's going to go down in the history books, I think. But with Joe Biden, he's just a boring dude. He's not exciting. Maybe 10, 20 years ago, he was capable of being exciting to people. He's an old man with ideas that even for the Democrats now are becoming a bit dated because they've schismed as a party into groups that are even less leftist friendly and are now waffling over towards independent or Republican status, and firebrand young progressives and socialists who are really, really out there who think that someone like Joe Biden's unacceptable because he's an old white male. That's really what it amounts to. So his voting bloc isn't excited. His voting bloc is terrified. They're the business Dems and the center-left and the old-school moderates of the 90s and stuff, moderates again, so-called, that are looking at the other groups within the Democratic Party and they're like, shit, what the fuck is happening? Oh my God, Biden's the only one here who's sane. They're not excited to vote for him. They're voting out of fear. This is the schism of the Democratic Party. You've got the idealist voters and the scared voters, basically. But you don't have any real positivity. Those idealist voters are filled with hate. We see their vitriol every day. They say, like, punch this person, attack people for their... I mean, they're looking more like the multicultural version of the Ku Klux Klan every single day. And I don't mean the has barbecue and occasionally says N-word Klan of today. I'm talking about like the pre-90s lynching people Ku Klux Klan. Like back when they actually were more recognizably and objectively actually hateful in their actions, not just their words. It's crazy. And the Democrats want to say that anyone that doesn't join them is endangering the country. Oh my God, Trump is so divisive. You can't even unify your own party. How the hell are you going to unify the United States? Now they're melting down. They're melting down over a parody website. And even Google can't protect them. I think it's hilarious. That's about all. Peace out.